Hello. How are you? So, today, in this specific video, I like to talk about priorities. Because I believe that a lot of people, myself included, are very good at fooling ourselves to how important certain things are and how important they aren't, or not seeing things clearly, and blah 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 blah. And I cut to the chase. First of all, I'd really love, for you specifically, to have a think about a moment where, or an event that could happen, where you need to take action. Something that would mean so much to you to do. It's so important for you to do. And, if anyone asked, you would, do it, right? Because you believe that it's so important to you to achieve whatever it is that you would not, it's just super valuable. It needs to happen, right? Now, a lot of people will say that, but they won't mean that. One example might be, you have a project of some description that you say is the most important thing in the world to you, and that you really want to achieve it as fast as possible. You want to complete it, you want to see it done, you want to see the results of completing it, whatever that may be. And then someone says, hey, I'm having a party, can you come round? Right? And then you, without even thinking, go, oh yeah, of course I'm coming. Oh my gosh, I didn't even know it was your birthday. And you just rock up. Right? Now, the level of thought and level of hesitation is often, but not always, linked to how important this thing is to you. Okay? If you, without hesitation, tell your friend that you will absolutely be going to this party, despite the fact that you keep telling yourself that this project is the most important thing in the world to you right now, if you don't even hesitate, that's probably an indication that you don't care about your project as much as going to this party. Now, there might be lots of reasons why. Maybe it's your best friend and you owe it to them to go and you want to show your support. That's completely understandable. That's completely respectable, right? Or you might say to yourself, maybe you don't want to let them down. Maybe you missed out on the last event and you feel guilty for that, and you don't want to miss out on the next one. That's fair as well. You might have all these reasons. But the fact that you didn't even hesitate, you didn't think, but I really want to get this project done. Do I want to go? Then you go, yes, I do. Blah, blah, blah. I'm going to go to this thing. Okay? That thought process, what it does is, when you don't hesitate, what it means is that the value of the new thing is of higher value than the thing that you're already doing, for example, and that you wouldn't, so it's always going to be higher value. If it's on equal value, maybe you'll still hesitate a little bit, but generally if it's of equal value or lower value, you will just be like, nah, it's all right, I'm not keen on it, sorry about that. Or maybe you'll be like, or if it is higher value and you hesitate, if the thing is valuable enough to you, maybe you might start thinking, do I maybe there's a way I can do both. Maybe I can just go there for half an hour and then come back and finish my project, you know, or maybe you set yourself a deadline. I'll go to the party after I've completed this X, Y, and Z, right? That's pretty fair. That's that's placing value on your project, and it's also giving them the time of day. Now, just because you're hesitating doesn't mean that the person... See, that's another thing. Another reason why you might not hesitate is because some people identify that sort of behavior of hesitating maybe as indication that maybe their friends will think they don't care about them, which is completely ridiculous. If your friends can see that you're wholeheartedly passionate about something, but they still get butthurt when you say, I'm sorry, I can't make it because I've really got to get this thing done, then they really don't understand you. You know, I had a friend who couldn't make it to their sibling's birthday party, their 21st or something, some 25th or some round number like that, you know, because they really had to get this thing done. Now, they could have just woken up in the morning or something and gotten this thing completed and blah, 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 but everyone was disappointed, but everyone totally understood and wouldn't hold it against this person, right? So, one really good example of what I hope is a situation that you would never hesitate with is if someone that you loved deeply and sincerely, maybe it's your partner, maybe it's your family, your parents or your sibling or something like that, maybe it's your best friend. If one of those people had a heart attack while you were at work and you got the phone call, how much would you hesitate to leave work? Would you hesitate at all? You know? What if they said, we're not sure if they're going to make it? Would you hesitate? Would you walk past the boss and say, I'm sorry, I have to go, my mother just had a heart attack? Or would you go in there and wait for permission and ask and all this sort of stuff? I don't know. I don't know. Maybe that's just me, but I personally would be like, I'd call up and say, I'm sorry, my family member's about to die. I'm going to stop going to work now, and I'm going to go and see this person. And if they don't agree with that, then you'll deal with that later, because the consequences of that are of lower value than saying goodbye to your parent or your best friend or whatever, right? It shouldn't. That's just an example, you know, of something that you shouldn't. Your mind places that of such higher value than the consequences of walking out of work, right? That you just do it, right? Maybe you freak out a little bit and you're like, for half a second, you're like, oh, I don't know, I'm at work though, how am I gonna blah, blah, blah. But you pretty much just leave, right? So, the reason why I make this video is because there are, how do I put this? I meet a lot of people, and they tell me how important specific things are in their life. They tell me how important it is for them to, I don't know, be a great parent. And then there's all these little things that they do that a great parent wouldn't do. And rather than being thankful when you tell them, because you've brought it to their attention, they get quite offended. Now, if, to me, I still get upset when people give me creative feedback. Because there's some on certain things, especially if they're about my character. I do get upset about that. But I am thankful at the same time, because now I can stop being shit, and be better and live in tighter alignment with the person that I say that I want to be. Right? Some people say how important their job is and how they want to work their way to the top, and they want to, they're working their way up, blah, blah, blah. And then I might, I don't know, this is just an example, but I might be like, I just read a book on that. Have you read it? No, you haven't. Oh, well, honestly, if you read it, I think it would make a big change to your career, and you would be amazed at the results and all the techniques that you'll learn and blah, blah, blah. Well, is it important enough for them to improve themselves to read the audio book, to find time driving to and from work, when they go for walks, when they have lunch? I don't know if they're lucky enough to be a tradie. Maybe they've got one earphone in listening to audiobooks, and every time someone yells out to them, they hit pause. That's what I do. I'm lucky enough that I work by myself, so I don't have to work as a team, so I can afford to do that sort of thing. But that's because I've found a way to achieve it, to do the thing that's going to make me better than who I was yesterday, because that's important to me. Maintaining status quo, people pleasing, all these things, while there is always going to be an element of that inside me that wants that, because that's society and that's constantly being reinforced, and I'm a part of society. I don't live in a cave and meditate all day. I actually live in the real world, so I get exposed to these things too, and they try to, those things influence me. But as time goes on, they become less and less and less valuable to me. I know people who try to maintain friendships with people who are sometimes really great, but at times completely and utterly disrespect them. And they try to maintain these friendships. And to me, I can't wrap my head around that. Unless there's some sort of business relationship and you're trying to do something sneaky like that. I don't understand how you could say something like, oh, yes, being respected and all this sort of stuff, that's highly important to me. And having great friends, having a great support network, blah, blah, blah. And yet you keep people who gossip, who don't respect you. If they gossip, they're talking behind your back. No matter how much they've done for you in the past, that's what they're doing. That's what gossipy people do. They're their brain is constantly on the network looking for things to gossip about. And the minute they find something about you, well, guess what I heard about Chris, right? And people are always going to do that anyway, but it doesn't mean that you should egg it on and just draw these people in and hang on to them and try to maintain a relationship with people like that. Who can be bothered? I know people who are bothered. Maybe because they've had it for so long that they don't know any different, or they don't know how to get away from it. I know I've got friends like that too. Right? But what are you telling yourself is really important is one of the most important things in your life, but you're not doing everything practical to make the most of that, to make yourself a better and better and better fit for that thing that you want to be, you know? Like, in my opinion, if it's the most important thing in the world to you, then you're constantly going to be doing everything you can to make yourself a better and better fit for that thing. Because being a fit for that goal or that type of person, I know people who, you know, they say, oh, I hate it when people are like this, that, and the other. And you turn to them and you're like, are you kidding me? That's what you do. You do that. Therefore, to me, your opinion on this topic has a very low value. It's not going to stick in my mind. In fact, it's going to stick in my mind that I shouldn't pay attention to what you have to say in this particular topic, right? Because really, you're just kind of full of it. Like you don't even understand the topic that you're discussing. So, you know, that's something. So, and I mean, a lot of people don't think like that. They take on these people's opinions on board as well. And yet they'll turn around and say, no, I'm not easy to manipulate. I'm not this, I'm not that. Really? So, now, as a final note, the reason why this is so hard is because who you are, deep down inside, who you are deep down, not who you think you are, but who you actually are, your true colors, okay? Your subconscious. Who you are deep down, your true colors, is only ever manifested, it is only ever visible through your behavior over the long term. Like, what is a repetitive behavior that you do? You know? Do you talk about boundaries and then you don't, and how important boundaries are and all this sort of stuff, but you have no boundaries? Or you step on other people's boundaries constantly? Oh, it's so important to me, yet I step on other people's boundaries all the time. It's not important to you. Maintaining your boundaries is, but boundaries as a whole aren't. Anyway, so your behavior is what shows your true colors. How you physically feel about a situation is who you are deep inside, your true colors. When you're in a situation and you feel comfortable, or you feel uncomfortable, or you feel afraid or sad or happy or lovey or whatever, or attracted or repelled, that's the back of your mind. That's the part of your mind that really pulls the levers. Okay? And it changes your behaviors and all this sort of stuff. Now, and that will show who you truly are. Not what you say. You can say it all you like, but it's not true. So to change all these things, to really get to the bottom of these, is first of all, identify. Maybe when you're posed a question, do you take option A or option B? Actually think about it in the long term. What's going to happen in a week, a month, a year as a result of this? It might be a tiny little thing, but you know, think about it first. so that you can find your blind spots, so you can find the points where you're lying to yourself, okay? And once you've figured out where you're lying to yourself, now I said that your true colors, your unconscious mind, it expresses itself through behaviors, among other things, behaviors and feelings. So if that's how it expresses itself, it also works both ways though. Now you can't really change your feelings, but you can definitely change your behaviors. Every time you catch yourself agreeing to something that you haven't thought through, every time you see yourself agreeing to something without even thinking, right? I know I've certainly been in situations where someone's asked me, oh, can you do this for me? I've gone, yeah, of course. And then as a really simple, common thing, I realized I was double booked. And I'm like, oh my gosh, which one do I cancel? You know, I should have just said, I can't go. Can we rebook it? Can we do it another time? Or I can't help you, but I know someone who can, or whatever, right? That would be a very mature and responsible way of approaching that. And that's because you could be, that response is very true to yourself, it's very accurate, and people will, other people who are true to themselves will respect it. People who are full of shit, who are not true to themselves, who are just fake, are going to be very upset because they can't see outside of the next 5 minutes. And they can't see outside of themselves. They only see 5 minutes ahead and how it's going to do good things for them, or they're going to be happy for it, you know? So, anyway, these are things just to think about. And how do I put it? Like, it's just something that's going to help you consciously move forward to be a better version of yourself, versus, it's not a new you, it's just a better version of yourself. It's literally just you being more true to who you are, instead of being very poor at prioritizing things, because you're afraid of hurting their feelings. If they're going to get their feelings that hurt, you know, it says a lot about them. If they don't, like, I was going to end before, but I'll end with this. If your friends, again, this is a great example of prioritization. If your friends say that they love you, and that you mean so much to them, and that they care about you, they think you're wonderful and incredible and all these sorts of things, yet you want to do something for yourself to better yourself as a person, or maybe it's just something that's incredibly important to you, and you say, I'm sorry, but I really have to work on this thing. Like, I'm really sorry, I'd rather, see you, but unfortunately I can't give up on this. If they get really upset, like, it's fair enough if they're like, are you sure, blah, blah, blah. But if they genuinely are really upset and they get pissed off with you for it, they don't care about you as much as they think they do. They think that you really mean a lot to them, and they'll make up lots of excuses as to why they're so upset, and those excuses might even sound really valid, but at the end of the day, if they don't understand how important this is to you, then, and they can't accept that, and they're just getting upset and butthurt, then they don't care. They don't actually care. Could be a friend, a lover, whatever. I've had them all, right? And then they think they start taking it out on themselves and all this sort of shit. No. Get over yourself. I've just got shit to do, okay? I'm sorry. I'm going to do stuff for myself, you know, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, that's a 25-minute video. I would be incredibly surprised if anyone made it to the end, but if you did, do let me know, because I'm always curious about who makes it to the end of these very long videos. Alright, I love you all, and have a fantastic day, y'all.